Alright, I'm back again. This time with got a PVZ on our hands here. I've had some caffeine. I'm awake now. Good to go. Alright, down here in the 5 o'clock position, we have our red zerg Fi, who is apparently, this is F91, who is a Chinese Warcraft 3 professional player who is very talented. Up there with the likes of Moon, Grubby amongst the top players. He's now playing StarCraft 2. Kind of looking forward to that. I always like professional players from other games switching over. And then we have, of course, oGsHero, who's now LiquidHero, up at the 11 o'clock position. You have a standard pylon placement here. Typhon Peaks, it's kind of hard to do a Forge expand. You kind of can sneak your way down here, but a little bit risky. It's a lot easier just to get a bunch of units out because the space you have to control out here is just ridiculous with just cannons. We have our zerg trugging along as usual. Probably either gonna go. I'm gonna assume he'll go hatch first, just because if you can as a zerg, you're gonna want to go 15 hatch. It's probably the best opener against protoss, especially on a map like this. Given that it is a 4-player map, there's a reduced chance that it will get scouted first. Looks like Hero's probe will get there about the time this expansion goes down. I don't think he'll get there in time to block it though, as he does have 300 minerals and the hatchery's going down. So Hero's going to be absolutely unable to do anything about that unless he would build the forge and then pull off some shenaniganery, but I doubt that's going to happen. From here we just have a normal opener for protoss coming. We have Zerg taking a 15 hatch. He's going to be really happy about that. Anytime you get that 15 hatch down, it's a big plus for Zerg. Throwing down a pool on 16. It's a little bit of a greedy opening. So our Zerg F91 is going to be maxing out on drones as much as he can here. oGsHero is going to go around for a poke. Just check and see if any gas is going up. Nope. Guess he'll be dancing around here at this entrance instead. Give him the probe. Run around to the drone. He sees the gas is taken late. That is a fairly late gas. So you don't have to exactly worry about speedlings too much. Now this might let Hero do a 1-gate expand, because if you don't have the threat of speedlings, and given that it's cross map, there's not much the Zerg can do to pressure. And it looks like we are going to see a 1-gate expand. Anytime you see this Stalker first, is really indicative of a 1-gate expand. You don't need the Zealot if they don't have fast Zergling speed. Like if they were to go 14 gas, 14 pool, then you'd most likely need to go for the Zealot, because a 1-gate expansion won't technically hold against it unless you get really lucky. But the Zerg, making only 4 Zerglings, might have wanted to make 2, especially if he knew this 1-gate expand was coming up. Now the Stalker's uncontested for quite some time. He can take map control, push Zerg off the watchtowers, walk around as he pleases. But it looks like Hero's actually just going to go for a 3-gate expand. He's just going Stalker Sentry and skipping the Zealot, which is good too. This allows you to be a little bit safer, and especially since I said earlier that the wide openness of the natural, and this is ridiculous, I can't even fit my whole screen here. We have a Stalker poking around, doing a little bit of damage to this queen at the front. He's got plenty of time. Seeing the late gas, he knows the Stalker is uncontested and can poke as freely as it likes. It's fast, and the Zerglings can't catch up to it unless he miss-micros, which at this level of play, you wouldn't expect Hero to miss-micro a Stalker. We have our Overlords in non-threatening positions, nowhere close to Hero's base. Absolutely no idea what's going on in Camp Hero. If we are F91, we are playing in the dark, but that is actually okay. I'd like to see a Spine Crawler here, but since he did make quite a few Zerglings, he probably won't need it. This is the first peek he's had at Hero all game. Not all game, but in a long time. The Nexus going down, plenty of sentries, got 6 sentries. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be looking for is if he makes any more sentries, I would assume that a big warp gate type attack would be coming. If he stops, then we'll probably see some other sort of tech. We have a fast third going down for F91 as well, so he's really looking to push an econ advantage. Still only on one gas, so our zerg F91 is looking to do a lot of powering. We see a Stargate come out of Hero, so I'm curious to see. He'll probably go Void Ray first, so he can push off Overlords and also help defend against any kind of roach attacks that'll be coming. And it's just an overall good tool to harass the zerg and keep them on their side of the map. Force some spore crawlers, anything you can do to make sure that they're not just only making drones, which happens to be what our zerg buddy over here is doing. We have a third base completing right as a protoss natural completes. That's going to put our protoss player in a really scary position. We do have a roach warren coming up for a zerg. That's most likely a defensive measure at this point. We have two spines coming out as well. He's probably getting a little weary of a big warp gate attack at this point. But we do have our Stargate coming with the Void Ray out first. Curious to see if he'll poke around the edges to clear off Overlords first or just send it straight to this base over here. Now we do have a pylon going up. So what's most likely to happen is he'll take his warp gates and he'll warp in some zealots here on the low ground and use the Void Ray as a really power harass tool to keep any roaches off of him. If he can target down this queen, then the zealots can pretty much have free reign. Instead, he's just opting to cannon rush because, you know, it's 9 minutes. Why not cannon rush? I mean, it doesn't hurt. What can he do? He's about to have drones getting shelled by photon cannons, and then a laser beam will also be right in his face. Now he is moving out on the map to clear off the watchtower. Oh, don't lose your stalker, hero. Okay, okay, it's okay, it's okay. Shh, it's fine, don't lose your stalker, it's fine. He's got shields, he's gonna be okay. Now we have our cannons completing, and they're not actually in range of the drones. Huh. Alright, probably not going as he'd like it to. We do have two more cannons finishing that will definitely be in range. Now, with this queen getting pushed away, this Void Ray can basically park itself right here, and there's not much Zerg can do about it, because these stalkers will just zone him out and allow the Void Ray to target the queens down with ease or drones, anything that he pleases. He'll most likely get rid of these two spine crawlers or get Overlords. That's good too. We have a bunch of roaches in production for the Zerg, along with lots of Zerglings. He's in panic mode now. His third base is being assaulted heavily. He's got two spines that can't really do anything because of the fact that there's a Void right here. But he's going to go for it. He's going to go for it. He's going to try and kill these stalkers off. I don't think he's going to be successful. 5 cannons on the high ground is very dangerous. Meanwhile, back at Camp Protoss, we're just probing up, teching up, you know. Doing good. Lots of gateways. Robot cannons! Cannons! The Zerg is actually not mining from this base. That's quite sad for our Zerg buddy here. He's still making Zerglings. He's way oversaturated because he's made so many drones, but can't really secure minerals. So even though if we go over to the worker tab-ish, unit tab area, we'll see that he's ahead by 18 drones. But since they're both on 2 mining bases, it doesn't really matter that he has such a big worker advantage because he can't use it. So even though these supplies show that Protoss is behind by 30 food, 40 food now, it's actually not as bad as it looks. We do have infestors with pathogen glands coming up, so that'll help a lot, especially against this big clump of sentries here. They'll be really vulnerable to getting hit by one fungal. If you get them all trapped, they're gone. It's very sad as a Protoss to lose a group of sentries to 2 fungal growths. Makes me cry Protoss tears every time I see it. But it's okay, because we have Colossi coming out for Hero. The range halfway done. Upgrades going. Everything's looking good in Camp Hero. Not so good in Camp F91. We do have the rocks coming down, but with no burrow movement, he can just force field the ramp and pick off units. Ooh, there's a little gap. Would have liked to have been perfect, but he still manages to pick off quite a few Zerglings for free. Sees everything with his excellent observer placement. I love that from Hero. Sees everything going on at the top of this ramp. No uncertainty. whatsoever. Just nice control play here from Hero. This third base is really protected. There are no corruptors to poke at him. Oh, but we do have infestors coming. Oh, that is so smart killing this observer. That observer is key because now he doesn't really know what's going on either side. And if he loses this next observer, his robo might be too tied up with Colossus production to keep pumping observers. Keeping your observer alive as a protoss is really important. We see our zerg hasn't attempted to expand anywhere else yet. He's just kind of given up on this base here. And with that, we can see his money kind of piling up because he doesn't exactly know what to do. He's in a really uncomfortable position having these cannons here denying this third. Would have been nice to see him maybe try and take this main over here or knock some rocks down to open up an avenue to expand this way. Even though it is closer to Protoss, it's further away from your main, so all the attention will be taking place away from your main, away from your drones, your tech structures. Even though Terrans are most known for expanding towards their opponent, it's not exactly a bad thing for Zerg, especially on a map like this, because if Protoss walks his army all the way through the back over here to kill this, then your front's open to a speedling run by. Once those speedlings get here, they can part off that way, and into the main, and you're really stretched as Protoss when that happens, especially when you're going for this Colossus type focus army where your backbone are these Colossi. Without them, you can't exactly engage Zerglings with much comfort. We do see the Zerg finally taking his fourth base, just now getting his third back online. Hasn't taken his gas yet. Come on, F91, come on, take the gas. Take the gas, F91, come on. Don't take your gas. We see Hero almost to a point where he can take a fourth. He's just going to be sitting comfortably on these bases for now. 3-base Protoss is usually where you want to be. He's got Templar tech out. He's got Colossus tech. No Storm yet. Most likely see some Archons being made here. But what is interesting is that Zerg has dropped now, and he has lots of Banelings. Lots of Banelings don't care how many force fields you have up if they're Overlord loaded. So if Hero doesn't have good blink micro, which he probably does, this is going to be a rough time for him, especially with these infestors being able to lock everything down. The one fungal lands on this group of units. If it clumps up, Hero could have a really tough time recovering. Banelings are highly devastating to the army. We have Overlords with Banelings moving up. Hero's prepping. He's kind of clumped up. Spread your unit. Hero. Really good force fields to zone out the army to try and bait the Overlords in so he can kill them with the stalkers that he has. Be a nice play from Hero. F91 smartly just backs away. Patience, even though he is maxed, he's just now starting his hive tech, so he does have that tech going to where he can transition out of this layer mix phase where he's got just the roaches and the infestors, which are great for the mid game. They're really strong and scary, but they don't exactly hold up once Protoss has every tech available to them. Neural Parasite can be good and whatnot. You can steal high-tech units, but infestors only work for so long before you have to have other supporting units. Now, I really like this. He's going to split off 2 of these Overlords with Banelings, but this the observer sees it. Hero, you're so good. Already moving probes out of the way. Not going to be taking much damage from these Overlords. I really like that. Now, we do have something interesting. We have Gravitic Drive coming. I'm really excited to see what he does with this. I'm assuming he's going to be doing some High Templar shenanigans, although I don't think he has Storm yet. Oh, Storm did finish. All right, I'm